The crypto market is rough. Gold, silver, precious metals are going crazy, and yet crypto is down. Historic crypto channels are now covering on how to buy gold and silver, and many are wondering that are in the crypto space, are they in the right place? Is crypto the right place to be? What about digital collectibles? Is your VeVe collection really the right place to be? Well, we're going to talk about that today. So today, as you know, is a special OMI is my homie day with my co-host, Randy Chavez and Dr. Stuff. Let me bring him in here. What's up, gentlemen?
Hello. Oh, we raising the roof?
Got a third guest here.
Howdy.
Raxel.
She just had a minute, and so I was like, come say hi to everyone.
Hey, Raxel.
She's going to be working out.
Work out at the gym.
Wait, show those guns again. Oh, look at that, guys.
Okay.
That's what 4 or 5 years at the gym will do for you.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of got it like okay,
Yes. You're wearing the long sleeves to hide those guns so that there's less envy.
Well, I forget it was somebody that was like, packaging dude. His brother was like, I got an arm wrestler. So we totally arm wrestled. It was great.
Yeah. Mr. Packaging dude's brother, like, I got to arm wrestle you, Raxel.
I love him.
He won, but I gave him a run for his money. Okay.
Very good. Yeah, I love him. He's great. We got to do a big visit again.
Yes, I love Fernando.
Yeah.
He's so cool, so fun, so socially adept. Holy cow.
He makes friends with everyone. He made friends with the Uber driver where we were. He's a great dude. I love him.
Totally. What's up, Tammy? Good to see you.
I can't see the comments.
Bye.
All right.
There's
Raxel's got to step away, save the world. One bicep curl at a time.
All right. Good stuff. Dr. Stuff, how you been, man?
Randy, I've been good. Good. It's been pretty awesome week.
Okay. Good stuff.
Rain's on mute again.
Yeah, because that's still talking to Raxel as she left.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I moved Dashy's location. Now Dashy looks huge.
Whoa. Yeah. Now he can keep watch over you better. Like he can pounce when he needs to.
He can. I'm waiting for the day where he just sneaks up on me and puts his head on my shoulder.
Alive. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm in a Disney film.
I know. We need to get so as VeVe continues to upgrade their collectible and make him have more animations, I think we need a Dashy one.
Oh, that'd be great.
Make it so Dashy can run around you and do all kinds of fun stuff.
I unfortunately, so I had a meeting with David last night about daCat stuff and just when we'll get on, and Dashy's not in the first daCat, comic book. He's gonna have his own comic book, and then he'll be brought into but it might be a couple years before people get their Dashy collectible, unfortunately. So you're gonna have to wait, but good things come to those who wait.
Some things we're both waiting for.
Hell yeah. Like us. We've been waiting for this alt season for several years now. And I think later this year, we hope, as we try not to cry, which should be okay. I mean, people buying MicroStrategy bought another, I think, $2 billion worth of Bitcoin last week, and another couple $100 million this week. So who knows what happens in the short term, but I don't think these big people are playing for short term. I think they're playing for the long term.
What I find funny that a bunch of even big crypto channels are now covering how to buy gold and how to buy silver, and it's late to buy gold and silver, but this is typical. If you want to grow a really big channel, you cover what everyone is buying, even if it's late to buy it, and you tell them how to buy it. You grow a big channel. Your audience doesn't do well though. Gold and silver, if you really think about it, it's gone up. Silver has doubled and tripled from its prices, which is amazing for silver. But compared to what crypto can do, that's nothing. So at the time when some of them are selling their altcoin bags to FOMO into silver after it's tripled, they're just doing things wrong. The way you make lots of money is positioning yourself in things before the run. not jumping in way after they've hit all-time highs and hoping that maybe it triples or quadruples again from here.
Let me address. Sorry, there's this comment here real quick about from Michael Guzelian. I think that he's misremembering. So one of the things, Michael, that I had said is I said if the team had not done certain things by a certain date, then I would be out of the token. That I wouldn't buy any more of the token. So I think that that's where that's at, but not like a certain price point. I never talked about like I'd exit if the OMI price didn't hit a certain point. And for me, like I just said that I would stop buying as well, right? Like I'm not selling the OMI token. I just think it's a longer term hold. Like I think like it's either going to pan out or it's not, you know. It's either going to work or it's not. And that's been with all of my tokens, right? Like I bought XRP, I bought a big bag of XRP and it's down significantly. And I'm holding, and it's either like because I don't have the time to do day trades and to watch these price spikes and to be like, oh, like it's going to go down, so I'm going to sell now and buy back in. I just am like a longer term holder on my projects, and some of them have died since then, and that's okay because I'm not spending any money that I can't afford to lose, and I sleep well at night with that. But that's the thing is we talked about at the beginning of the show, like when is alt season going to happen? I still believe it's going to happen, and in the tokens that are still around when that happens will do well. They will all do well. They will all do well. How well will depend, right, on narratives and things. And so some will definitely do better than others. But man, I love OMI and like what this utility token, and it's tied to literally the longest standing like NFT platform out there. Like let's be honest, you know, like they're still out there. When all of their competitors, I mean, Cryptoys is back. They must have gotten an injection of additional cash.
Well, they got bought.
They were out for a year. What's that?
They got bought.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's another way of saying that they got an injection of cash to try to make things work again. So I just wanted to address that, you know, that I'd never said that I would be out of the token if it didn't hit a certain price point, because that's just not realistic. What if I said, if it doesn't hit 5 cents, but it got to 4 cents, you know, like, and so then I never sold. Like, I said that I'm going to sell in tiers as it goes up, but I have strong conviction in the token. But I did say that I would stop buying the token if I didn't see certain milestones met, and the team has delivered and they've continued to deliver, but that doesn't necessarily tie into price. So just wanted to address that.
Everyone comment F down below to pay respects to Nifties.
Yeah. Kyle with the super chat. If your life was on the line and you had to choose what month altcoin season begins, what do you choose? Remember, your life is on the line.
October.
October for Randy.
Because it's alt season. So there's a lot of people that think, and they might be wrong, they might be in the minority, but there's a lot of people that think, hey, Bitcoin's still showing negative. If it goes down to the 200 week moving average, it goes down to like 50 something thousand. There's someone I talked to earlier today that has buy orders set up at 30,000. Do I think it gets there? I don't see how it could. That seems insane. But, you know, we went down from 126 to 79.9, like down $1,000, $46,000 in 46 days. It's $1,000 a day. I don't see why it couldn't nuke to a certain point. But whether you're part of that crew or another crew that just says we stay down here for a little while, then we go up, it doesn't seem like there's any reason for Bitcoin to go up right now. And in order for alt season to happen, you need Bitcoin and ETH to go up. Maybe when the Clarity Act were to pass, but it looks like the government will shut down before that happens. Depending how long the government shuts down for, we might not get the Clarity Act passed till March. Even if it does pass earlier, you have a, you know, Jerome Powell that doesn't get out until May. Whatever happens, I think Bitcoin and ETH really start moving middle of the year, maybe even towards summer. And then after they go crazy for a couple of months, then you have alt starting to run. And that's why I say October, gun to my head.
I think, man, gun to my head. I think we got to start seeing a ramp up in Bitcoin by June or July. So if I mean, listen, to be more conservative, I would say July, but like if it's not by June, like what is going on? And I say that because we got midterms coming up, midterm elections, and that is very, very crucial for this administration. They can't lose a freaking seat. And I know that there's a lot of political turmoil going on with, you know, ICE. And I think one of the ways to help people forget that is to get the economy roaring or to dump money in or, you know, something like that. And so I think that there's every incentive for the money supply to increase and to kind of ramp things up here before the elections in November. And so, but it's got to start well before November to get that investor sentiment up. So I'm going to say July to be safe. But listen, again, just so you guys know my plan, like I'm buying right now still, but if it hasn't happened by June or July, like unless there's a crazy price drop, like I'll probably stop buying by then, and then I'll just wait it out and see, and I'll just have my holdings, and because I got real life stuff that I've got to deal with too. So.
Well, so the market can continue to be like irrational longer than people can stay solvent, which is why you don't borrow in order to buy, because like who knew that the altcoin season was going to take an extra year? And it wasn't clear because this pattern really began, I mean, a little bit 2013, but there weren't really altcoins in 2013. There were different forks off of Bitcoin, but not really true altcoins. So 2017 was the first altcoin run, 2021. And so we only have 2 data points there, but it's becoming apparent how much it is about money supply growth. And then if you look back at the charts of the March 2021 bull run and the December, January, February bull run of 2017, 2018 for altcoins, it coincides really with money supply growth like crazy. We got a little background noise coming in somewhere. I think, Doc, that's yours. So money supply growth. Yeah, I got it. There we go. It was an echo coming back into your microphone. Money supply growth is such a critical part, and we see things ramping up towards that. It's just hard to tell how fast that's going to happen and its effects. I do think that gold, silver, precious metals going crazy. A lot of things happening are setting up for some money to then flow really hard into crypto and then altcoins. Just can't tell when either. I would go somewhere around, and it's very unusual historically for things to run big in like July, but we did see it back in 2020. We saw a DeFi run in 2020 where things like AAVE went like 1,000x over a period of about 4 or 5 months. So like, I don't know. It really just has to do with Jerome Powell. Does he stay till the end of his term? How aggressive are these rate cuts? What kind of money really starts pumping in the system? So we see that money supply growth. That's hard to project. So if I had to make a guess, boy, Doc already called July, so at least if I call August, that way if one of us is right, the show can continue because the other 2 of us are dead.
Yeah. I mean, I think gold I think Bitcoin can definitely move up middle of the year, but if it's alt season, like how long does Bitcoin and ETH go before it tops out? Like, I mean, it's been suppressed for so long, and like you said, you have all this money from stocks and gold and silver and platinum, that's going to rotate in. That's going to be insane. October is your birthday. Huzzah. I mean, you have Eric Trump saying last week that banks are doing everything they can to block crypto legislation. And it's just that they're going to lose. I think it was Standard Chartered that had mentioned that stable coins may cost $500 billion to banks by 2028, because why would you keep money in a bank where you get like a percent in interest where you could stake stables and you could get now like 4, but it'll be probably withered down to like 2%, maybe less after they do they'll probably be somewhere in between.
I remember in the 90s as they were trying to get like internet legislation passed, and AT&T's like, wait, don't allow voice over internet protocol. calls because that's going to cost us billions of dollars of revenues. And it's like, in other words, you want to keep your monopoly, so everyone has to pay. Remember when you called another country and it was like $2.50 a minute? And if you were in the States and you called another state, or if you're in Canada and called another province, you paid 35 cents to 55 or 75 cents per minute. And all of a sudden you could do it for free. Well, you know, the Congress was all about trying to protect AT&T, but there was too much sentiment from people being like, no, I like free better than 75 cents a minute. And Crimea River, figure it out, AT&T. I don't know what you're going to do, but you don't get to legislate a monopoly just because you're hiring all these people that are lobbying on your behalf. And isn't that what's going on with banks? Wait, we've enjoyed this monopoly for forever. And new technology has made this whole thing where we make 6 to 10% on your money, which is leveraged 10 different times, and we pay you 1% interest. And we like that situation. We want that to continue for forever. And I like the ability that people can decide where they want to put their reserves. They don't have to keep it in the bank because Congress made it illegal for them to pay out yield on your stable coins.
Agreed. So I want your guys' opinion on a polymarket odds where it sees a 65% chance that NFTs make a comeback in 2026. Do you agree with this premise? Why or why not? What are your thoughts?
Totally agree with the premise. So I was around in 2020 when CryptoPunks, 2019, 2020, CryptoPunks were declared dead and that they would never make it back and never be a thing. And they did come back, and they came back really strong. In that time, you could have bought a CryptoPunk for 1 ETH, and 1 ETH was trading for about $75 to $150. And then they went to like 300,000 for a CryptoPunk, something that was declared dead. So it's like, there's this idea of chasing what's already happened. And, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, gold and silver are the place to be right now. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to tell people what they need to do, but I don't chase things that are already up and realize their gains. I look at what hasn't realized their gains. And this whole argument that NFTs are dead is like, why would they be dead? Now, they've seen such big gains, like Bored Ape isn't going to do another 3,000x from where they're at. But will they probably reach their all-time highs and surpass it? I would think major projects like that will. It'll be really competitive and hard for new projects to get that kind of traction. But I think digital art and digital collectibles are a huge part of the future because we love to collect things. We love to represent what's important to us. And in the crypto space, like, well, as the world becomes more involved in the crypto space, which is where it's going, it's not like that's going to become less relevant or less important. It's going to become more relevant and more important. Now, rather than betting on some of the other ones, one of the reasons I chose VeVe is because these are brands that we all know and trust. And this is, in many cases, some of the first appearances of these brands in digital collectible or NFT form. And so that's why I'm such a big believer in VeVe, because it's like, you know, Bored Ape, there were 10,000 projects that launched within a 3-month period of Bored Ape. It was hard to pick which one would do as well as Bored Ape, or which one would be the next big thing to do what CryptoPunks did. Where with VeVe, I was betting on DC and Marvel and Disney being something that people might want in the future, especially all these first appearances. Seemed like a pretty safe bet. Doc?
Yeah, so I agree with the premise. I don't know if I agree with the time frame. I like, do I think the NFTs will pump during the cycle, whenever the cycle actually happens? Yes. But when that happens, I don't know. Is it going to be 2026 or 2027? I don't know. So it all depends on the timing of things. But like, people, as the greed index goes, people are going to look towards those blue chip projects or projects that at one time were high, that still have like the public eye, or, you know, like if you say a CryptoPunk, if you say a Bored Ape, anyone in this space knows what that is, right? And so like the chances that those do very well are really high. But so I agree with the premise. I don't know about the time frame. That's where I'm at with that.
Let's go 2028.
I think it'll be 2026 or 2027. I don't think it's going to be
And
that
I mean,
late.
Polymarket's almost never wrong. You know, you had Jack Mahler say last week that Bitcoin goes from 150 to 200K sometime in 2026. So it seems like everything's there. It's like gearing up for it, and I feel like we're close within this year, but you know, just can't determine like that money that's in money markets on the account, that's got to go somewhere. That could exit, but as people exit out of a lot of other things like main tokens, like it's not exiting out of crypto, it's just going into stable coins.
What I love about poly markets, right? For forever, the news would just decide who the experts were and say experts this, experts this. But with poly markets, people are actually putting their money on the line, and it's like it doesn't get rigged, because if they're wrong, they lose that money. And so you're actually seeing what people really believe, because they're putting their money on the line in a way that has never really been done before. Because even polls are sometimes they skew it and they bias it and stuff. Polymarket is the best real poll that there is out there, because these are individual people who have their actual money on the line. So they're saying and betting on what they truly believe.
Yeah. What's that guy who's always wrong?
Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer. Like, imagine if that guy had to put his money where his mouth is. You know how poor that guy would be? And that just goes to show you that there's something up there, right? Like, there's someone who's paying him to tout things.
Yeah.
And the incentives are misaligned with that structure, whereas with Polymarket, right? And that's why you get so much better accuracy, is because people try to do the research as much as they can, because their money is on the line with that. Whereas opposed to like this guy, this talking head, he can say whatever he freaking wants, and there's no accountability if he's wrong. He still keeps his job because someone's freaking paying for him to say those things. So
this is another great question by Kyle. Kyle with the great questions embedded in super chats. I love talking about this, because for me, this is all about pattern recognition. Lots of crypto YouTubers are capitulating and leaving crypto for other markets. They are. They're talking about the stock exchange, which is at all-time highs and has these massive green candles, and they can look at it and it feels like it just keeps going up. They're going to gold and silver. Is this a normal sign before the bull run? Doc, Randy, what do you think?
I would say yes, because I've seen people recently go in and like, because they knew I used to work with a guy that dealt in gold and silver, and you know I had a bit, and I've had other people reach out to me like, hey, think I should get gold and silver now? And I was like, this is exactly what you talk about. Is that what we see all the time? It's like science. Air goes from where it's hot to where it's not. People go from where things are not exciting to where they're exciting, and they sell what's down to buy what's up. And I'm like, so I because I don't give advice, I'd be like, listen, be advised, gold is already up quite a lot, but yeah, here's a number to my guy if you want to buy some. And what's not helping is that for a lot of where my guy gets a lot of his gold from, like they're on back order for like a lot of stuff. Like he's got to sell a bunch of numismatic stuff. He's got to sell a bunch of, because the actual bars and stuff, whether it's AppMex or like CoinRare or whatever, their stuff is on back order. So of course, when you have that scarcity, it was like, it's hard to get. People like, they FOMO even harder. This probably happens before all big runs, right? I mean, you would know more than me.
People chase green candles, and so all they're doing is they're chasing the green candles that are already happening. So recency bias is real, and you're seeing it with gold and silver. Like, it is funny because they have been artificially suppressed by paper-backed versions, and what's really like ending that is people requiring physical delivery of the assets. And so people that there's way more paper gold out there than actual gold, but when you require the delivery, then people are having to close their positions and buy. Yeah, like I think there's a lot of naked shorting and other things that had been suppressing the price. And so the price has been squeezed up tremendously. And I think there's more to come, but like how much more? I don't know. It might double from here. If it doubles from here, that's crazy. If it triples from here, that's crazy. But it could also go down 80% from here. And that would take it just back to prices where they were at recently. And so they're taking a lopsided bet towards downside risk that they don't understand. And they're like, oh, yeah, but crypto has done nothing but go down. Now, when I did real estate investing for a while, I wrote the deals for an investor that would buy properties, fix them up, and flip them. And one of the things you talk about real estate investment is you make your money on the buy. The cheaper that you buy things, the more safety and security you have. And so when you think about it that way, gold just 3x'd. So how much safety is there buying it at these prices? How much? Not much. Now, crypto is like, oh my gosh, this altcoin is down 99% from its bull market highs. How much safety is there? Way more than people give it credit for. Now, the company could go, bankrupt and go out of business, and then you would lose it. Cool. That's why you look at, like, is the team still working? Do they have incoming revenues? What's going on with them? And that helps provide additional safety for the bets that you're going to take. If you make your money on the buy, wouldn't you rather buy 99% down rather than it just 3x past all-time highs? That gets scary. Like silver's price is like, you were like, yeah, and it might continue. It might double from here, which would be so crazy. But it could also go down 80% from here. And it might double from here and then come way the hell down. I don't know. But you do see a lot of momentum because people chase these green candles, and recency bias is real. Like if I was set on making my YouTube channel really big, I cover XRP every day. Why? Because XRP is up from its bear market high, so people can see, okay, XRP feels safe because it's way up from its bear market lows. So it feels safer than stuff like OMI, which feels like it just keeps going down. But because I'm an investor, and these are principles that I use to invest in, I just share with people why I buy what I do, rather than being a YouTuber trying to grow my channel by telling people what they want to hear. I will often tell them things they don't want to hear because this is what I'm doing as an investor, and I'm sharing it with other people, why I'm doing it and why I like the things I like.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, Rain, right? There is another, like, misaligned incentives with crypto YouTubers. They want to talk about all the hype things because they get paid through views and viewership. And all these people, they want to, like, it's that attention, right? Like the economy of crypto is attention. It's this attention market, right? And so if something is pumping, then they talk about it. And so because nothing is pumping here, right? So again, if they're talking about it, it's pumping, then the risk is already higher than it was 2 weeks ago before it was pumping. And now because nothing's really pumping and gold is pumping, they have left the markets. So instead of looking at the crypto tokens and saying, which ones are undervalued right now? Where can we get some significant value? That's not their goal. Their goal is views. And people are like, oh, gold is interesting. Gold is pumping right now. So they're going to start talking about gold, right? And they're going to be like, this is a great time to buy. And that's what the people want to hear. And the incentives are all misaligned with that, which is why I've loved, and listen, like how many of those crypto YouTubers are actual millionaires from their crypto investments and not because of the ties they've made or the tokens they got from pumping up crypto tokens, right? Like that's the key, is which one of those YouTubers actually knows what they're talking about when it comes to crypto investing. And Rain's got a proven track record of that, right? Like a multi-millionaire from his calls, and that's important to me. So and I've looked at a lot of these projects, and again, some of them you're not going to get everything right. There's tokens that he's talked about, there's tokens I've talked about that are done with, but like you've got to look at the fundamentals and say, does this make sense? And you're hoping that the team can manage the money well, that they have the capital runway to do all that. But sometimes it doesn't happen because this bear market is a lot longer than everyone expected, right? But the tokens, like I said, that are still around when the bull run happens, whenever that is, they will perform well. And depending on what the narratives are during that bull run, some of them will do very, very well.
There's it happens in both outer markets, stocks, Bitcoin, gold, etc., and it happens even in the smaller things like subreddits. we're talking about NFTs. You had a guy named Anon saying, start judging NFT collections by their grails, not by their floor prices. And Mr. Squeebs had gone over and he had said, like, yeah, some people collect, others position. And he throws a photo of a couple of partner statues, like sub 50 partner statues, which is just bananas. So that's what great grails will stand the test of time. You also have some new shiny things that people go for every now and then. Most recently, you had like a new Vader Samurai that came out, but also one of the first DC comics over on VeVe. Now, it was technically a Marvel comic, but it was a Deadpool and Batman team up, and there's no first appearances in it. There's no, I don't think it's really that historic, but it sold out within like, I think 30 minutes. There's 1,000 digital editions of it, just because of the excitement that maybe this could sway DC into going on VeVe Comics. Like, DC is so diluted in so many different things. Like, they were on Palm, Candy, you know, whatever. Warner Brothers, Bat Cows, and all these different things. And a collab is cool, but really like a not that special of a comic goes on VeVe and it sells out. That's got to make them think that DC's like, huh, maybe we're missing out here. What do you guys think of that? What do you think about the new and shiny things that happen on VeVe every now and then, usually once a month, and grails? Like, what is best for VeVe?
Man, I'll tell you what, Randy, I was so bummed. I haven't been on Twitter. Obviously, anyone who follows me knows that I have not been on Twitter much. Like, again, real life stuff has just taken precedent for the last several months. And so I got on and I said, because I got this notification. I have the notifications on for VeVe when they tweet and My Collectibles too. My Collectibles had posted something about that Batman, like Deadpool collab. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get one, right? And I was like, and it was the day after it was sold out. I was so bummed, man, you know? But I think that is like, at some point, someone at DC's got to swallow their pride and be like, VeVe's the best bet, right? Like, I mean, it just is. And so they can come back with their tail tucked between their legs and be like, hey, you know, and VeVe's still going to strike them a fair deal. And we're going to open it, like, we're going to welcome them back with wide open freaking arms. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? We'd love to see that. So listen, anyone at, DC, if you're ever watching this, we love you guys. Please join VeVe.
If I were VeVe though, like, would I cut them that fair of a deal? Because they're failing elsewhere. Here's where we're, this is where they're going to make the most money.
Yes, yes, I would. You know why? Because it's a long-term relationship, and you don't want to do that, man. Yes, you can take advantage of someone in the moment, right? But like you do that, and the minute that they can cut ties to go somewhere else again, they're going to, right? Because they're going to be like, you kicked me when I was down, so I don't trust you, But if they strike a fair deal and say, listen, you failed elsewhere, but welcome back. We've loved working with you in the past. Here's what we're doing with our other partners. Like, let's cut you a fair deal that we can walk away with. Because then when someone else comes in knocking, they're going to be like, no, we've got something good here. Yeah, maybe that's a sweeter deal, but like, they're the trusted entity in the space, and they did right by us when we were down. So.
Good point, Doc. Good point.
And it seems like David used that type of guy, right? He would just love to have them on his platform that he's so passionate about and put his blood, sweat, and tears and his own money in to build this over the years, that he would be excited to have him in. I would be tempted to be spiteful. I wouldn't, but boy, would the temptation be there. But I only believe in win-win deals, because the minute you make it a lose for the other side, like Doc said, they will find a way down the road to make it a lose for you. So like, there's no such thing as a win-lose deal, because the side who loses will make sure at some point that you have a loss too. So win-win deals are always the way to go. Ben in Korea is no longer in Korea, chilling at the beach in sunny Australia. Went for a swim in the surf this morning.
Nice.
Bloody brilliant.
This is amazing.
Also says the boys are back in town, the Three Musketeers of VeVe. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We know that. Sorry, go ahead.
Curious about the team's plan to rebuild trust after long periods of silence and shifting timelines. Wish Ben was here. I think we all wish Ben was here. We loved Ben.
Ben was great, but what is the rebuild trust, a long period of silence? I feel like VeVe has been doing pretty well at keeping us posted on what's going on with Collect. They go on and they, I mean, I guess they haven't given us any major updates on that. So, okay, fair. I don't know what would you guys like to hear from them if David were to do like a fireside chat?
Probably just a timeline of like when, I know Dr. Collect, you know, formerly known as Dr. Profit, but like just the timelines of when everything's like rolling out, right? Like when everything is migrated over. I think that everything is migrated over, right? But they just haven't like released. Like I don't know. See, that's the thing is like I don't know that. So that would be the biggest thing is when that's going to just go. Everything's going to go live on Collect and. But like, I'm not they canceled NFT Paris. That was a bummer, but it wasn't them. Like some like NFT Paris just canceled. So, anyways, yeah, I'm not. There's not a lot that I'm like, oh, like VeVe for the most part. And okay, you know what I would like to know? Bronze tickets. What the heck is happening with bronze tickets? How long have I had bronze tickets? Come on now, right? And then they also talked about a long time ago, they talked about things like, you know, burning a certain number of collectibles to get a different collectible or to get like a Superman cape or, you know, there's been all of these different things. Where is that now, right? Like, is that still happening? Is that still something that they have in the pipeline? Because I think that's something that could get the markets really excited too, is you're burning certain collectibles to get a new collectible or a comic book, right? And so that reduces the supply of, especially like the OG comics, for example, that have like 60,000 editions. You do something like that. And they talked about that. Where's that at? So I'd love to know. I'd love to know more about that.
Well, so the premise is that they've lost trust, right? So I guess, I mean, where the loss of trust has to do with expectations being different than delivery. Now, software companies and delays, historic, like almost every company, almost every single one has big delays from the timelines they get. So I guess I'd need clarification on where you feel like they've lost trust. Over time, were they late on delivering a whole bunch of things? They were late on delivering almost everything. But have they continued to work and delivered most of them? Yeah. So I'm quite happy with that. And so I don't feel like they need to re-earn my trust. I feel like they already have, at least for me. So I guess I'm looking at it from a different perspective, not from a perspective they need to rebuild my trust. I did love Ben being here because I feel like Ben, being such a crypto native, like understood and communicated to us more directly in ways that I loved. I really, really loved. And so like David Yu, yes, they have an app in the crypto space. Did he grow up as like a crypto investor and really understand crypto the way I like it? Not so much. He's grown up in the collecting space and he's delivering digital versions of collectibles with major brands. And so do we always get communication exactly the way I'd love it? No. I wish David Yu would come on here once a month. I mean, what better channel could he do that on? So yeah, David, what I'm really saying is yes, rebuild trust by coming on the OMI is my homie show once a month.
Before I get to the last question for Doc, before I ask to bounce, I did want to address O'Malley's statement there, or question where it's like, Randy, I know you know the T. David's last meeting didn't go so well, right? I don't know if you were talking to what that was in reference to. The meeting I had with David last night was really just about daCat. I don't work for the company. I don't have any, like it was just a, hey, here's the comic that I want to put on there. And just talking details with that. He didn't give me any tea on anything. That being said, Doc, Digital Monkey a few days ago said, hey, Ken Golden, when's the first digital collectible auction? How much do you see this going for VeVe? He posted a Ben Riley number 69. Everyone comment nice down below for the 69. And a guy named Bobby Sad says like he'll get one on there when they can be taken off platform. And Ken Golden actually responded correct. And he actually told me to I shot him an email I think last week, not that long ago, just about just coming on the podcast and stuff like that. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't want to have NFTs on there as long as they're interoperable. He's made the claim before that he doesn't like NFTs, but that was because a lot of them are scams, a lot of them whatever. But once they're interoperable, which they should be very soon, should be fine on it. What would you rather see on Golden auctions from VeVe first? Would it be a Spider-Man? Would it be a partner statue? Specific mint number? Doc, what are your thoughts?
I think a partner statue, right? And like a special number of the partner statue, I think would be good, because they have to market this to, I mean, they want viewership, right? So there's got to be significance in history with that. And I think that there's more Walt Disney fans and things and anyone who's gone to Walt Disney Land, right, is going to have seen the partner statue there right before that castle. And so they can talk about that significance. This is probably going to be the only NFT ever with Walt Disney in it. You know how crazy that is? With all of the different NFTs, I mean, we got Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse's IP is run out, and so you have, like Steamboat Willie, I guess, right? Like, so there's Steamboat Willie NFTs out there now, but like the Walt Disney IP, right? Like, this is going to be the only Walt Disney NFT probably ever, and talking about that, and then having these mint numbers and kind of teaching people about that, it would be a great story, and I think that they could hype that up more than they could with probably any of the other collectibles on there.
I think so too. That could be one of the first ones that they do. They could have one of those things on there every month, and it would do so well. Because again, you have different mint numbers. You have number 333. You have number 1901, 1920. There's so many different ones, and that's just with that particular one, not including Spider-Man, not including everything else. They could have a pipeline of going on there every month for the rest of eternity. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that like once one of those sold for like a decent amount, right? Then more eyes would go on that and would definitely come to VeVe and be like, "What's on there? What else is on there?" You know what I mean? Like that would be a huge way to get different investors. Or right. I mean, I say investors because there would be investors who are like, I want to look at these digital collectibles now, especially if they can get sold at auction and do well there. You would have a lot of people coming into the VeVe markets with that. So, but gentlemen, I got to go here. But it's fun. It's fun. And like, I'm hoping that next week, actually, I can do like a full OMI's My Homie show. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to do like a full thing, but I miss you, gentlemen. I miss all of you guys out there in the Twitch sphere and YouTube and just the VeVe fam in general. You guys are amazing. I love this support. Love all the comments. Miss y'all, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you, Doc.
I love you. I love you so much. I love him so much. He's so cool.
He is so cool. So smart too.
Yeah. He's pretty heckin' great. There is someone had posted before a couple days ago. Feel free to let me know your thoughts about the greatest of all time as far as NFTs. Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks were the GOATs. The elites were chimpers, claynosaurs, moonbirds, pudgy penguins. Solids were Azukis. And I don't even know what is next to Azukis. Like, I don't know any of those things. I think maybe that one is VFriends in the middle there. I don't know. The one that could be something, Mad Lads, and then a bunch of other ones. Like I don't know any of these, and if I feel like I don't know them, they're not that popular. I go in and I say that I think Milady Maker should be a bit higher. I also think VFriends should be next to Pudgy Penguins. Also, where's anything from VeVe? First appearance, Batman, Spider-Man, Mickey Mouse, etc. It seems that people are still either not aware, or they are aware and they don't care because they're not real NFTs yet. The interoperability, do you think that's what we need in order to get the eyes on us, or is it going to be something else? Is it going to be the narrative that needs to change, ETH going higher? What's the main catalyst?
altcoins going up, ETH going higher, then rolling into altcoin rallies. So you're seeing, like, if you look back at the history of gold and silver, like silver is a lot like altcoins, and gold started going up tremendously, and silver stayed the same for a long time. And then silver ran tremendously. And we covered it on the Wednesday show with Paul, and we were looking at the price, and he's like, yeah, you know, a lot of this usually rolls into silver. And it did just that. And now silver's been going crazy. And that's kind of what happens with Bitcoin to altcoins. When is that going to happen? I don't know. And as it happens with altcoins, then like the whole world really starts taking a look at crypto. And that's when all of a sudden digital collectibles become really important again. It goes through a new wave of like new adopters, because there's millions and millions of collectors out there that really aren't aware of digital collectibles. It hasn't become a thing on their radar. And that's the type of environment where then it hits their radar, and then they FOMO in. Just like you see people FOMOing into gold now and silver now, even though they're coming late to the game. That happens over and over again. That is not a way you make wealth. That is what the 95% of people do. And like my mentor in business said, in real estate investment, he said, if you want to get rich, find out what the 95% do and do the opposite. So the opposite is position yourself in things before they run. And the hard part about that is it requires patience. Like that's what I did in real estate. That's the problem with real estate, is it takes so long to make money over time, and you have to deal with renters. And if you haven't had that privilege in your life, avoid that privilege in your life, because it is worse than you think. Crypto, when you're paying cash for it, you're not buying on leverage, or you're using money that you actually have, you can afford to be patient. But don't think that you're going to invest in these early stage businesses and none of them are going to fail. That doesn't happen. Some of them are going to fail. Now, if you're learning how to select them and pick them properly when they're down, you'll still have some failures. But if you're picking well, the ones that survive will make your overall gains do so well, as long as you're diversifying. Like, you know, I talked to this gal and she put $350,000 into an early stage pharmaceutical drug. And she's like, oh man, if it had only made it. And I was like, I don't think she knows they have like a 95% failure rate. And she put all of her eggs in one basket. It's like in crypto, I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Even if I'm like OMI is one of my favorites, because they have ongoing incoming revenues and some of the biggest brands associated with them. But still, I wouldn't go all in, because what gives me the safety is the diversity of my portfolio across multiple different altcoin projects where their prices are punishingly low. Because at any given moment, even though it seems like something's solvent, you might find out differently and it goes belly up. And it's like, if you put all your eggs in that one basket, that might hurt you. Now, if I were to put all my eggs in one basket, it would be OMI and VeVe, but I just don't do that. It's a bad principle. I'd rather diversify across a whole bunch of different ones, and knowing that some will end up failing, but because of the way that I'm vetting them, some of the ones that survive will more than make up for the losses that I had. Last bear market into the bull market, I had some that from the bottom, well, actually one of them from where I bought it to the top of where I went 3,000x. Do you think that maybe made up for some of my ones that went belly up? Yeah, especially if I'd waited for 3,000x. I pulled all my gains, unfortunately for me, at 100x, which is not bad when you're selling at 100x gains, not, you know, where it's not where the top went to 100x and I'd harvested earlier. The top was much, much higher. But like that happens when you diversify across lots of different ones.
There's a picture that was making its way around X the other day saying, spot the difference between these two pictures. And for those that are just listening, the picture on the left is in 2021, where precious metals had a $12 trillion market cap and crypto had a $3 trillion market cap. And the other picture in 2026, precious metals had a $40 trillion market cap and crypto still has a $3 trillion market cap. So precious metals does a 3.5x in 5 years, and crypto has not done any. I mean, it's done a lot in between, but as of right now, it's the same price as it was 5 years ago.
what's funny is that's a great thing because you make your money on the buy, and so many people they just can't understand that principle. They want to buy when the trend has been going up for a while because they think that provides them safety. And the longer you're investing, the more experience you are, the more you realize that is the risk right there. That is the risky stage to be buying. That is not the safety that people think it is.
Agreed. That's what we have to do. And how long do we have to do this for? I don't know. CZ had said that we are on our way to a super cycle. I don't even know what that means anymore at this point. He might just be saying stuff to draw things to Binance or to draw people to do other stuff. We'll see. O'Milly down there had posted the other day, well, the world famous king of collectibles, Ken Golden, has spoken. VeVe official would have to offer true ownership for a chance at joining Golden auction. And Dr. Collect says phase 1 will be very soon. We basically are ready, just coordinating with Immutable X. Full features roll out this summer. Some features will probably be rolled out in the next couple of months, and then full features, like he said, sometime in summer. If we delay it, even September, which is fine. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I love that Dr. Collect, they have a platform that integrates with the VeVe app, right? So in the Collect chain coming, I think that's a bonus to the VeVe ecosystem tremendously. I mean, having met him a number of times, he's a really smart businessman. First, being able to attract that caliber person as a collectible buyer, and then have him put his own money on the line to build a company that augments the capabilities of VeVe. It's a big statement of faith in what VeVe's doing in the leadership team.
Hell yeah. I mentioned before Nifty Gateway Studio. They were really big in like 2021. A lot of artists went there, 250,000 followers over on X. They did announce the other day that they will be closing their platform on 23 February in 2026. And I guess they were actually launched in 2020, not 2021. It's for dozens of innovative drops. But if you have a current balance of USD or ETH, or you hold an NFT, you'll be notified by email with instructions for moving assets off of the Nifty platform. And yeah, that's rough. Another one bites the dust. What do you make of this? What is VeVe's play here? Do they do nothing? Do they go in and try to reach out to a bunch of the artists that were on Nifty to get them on VeVe? Do they offer everyone to go to the Collect chain so they can still live on there? What's their big, what should they do?
Well, I think some of these companies will get bought out as money comes into it, because the great thing about blockchain is like the collectibles are still there as long as the right data is maintained. People will still be able to access them. And so we'll see some of that as money comes back into crypto and into digital collectibles. So a lot of times when you're buying low, it feels like things are dead, and you do see projects dying. And that doesn't mean, especially in the collectible space, that those are dead. For example, say Candy completely shut their doors with the DC Comics. It feels like those are dead. At some point, that IP and those collectibles, somebody can buy it and gain an instant community. And there's value, especially because they might be able to pick it up for pennies on the dollar, and then they can run with it and restore your access, and you have your collectibles there. And so they're not dead. It just felt like they were dead, even though the entity running it had pretty much, closed their doors. Now, some of them, like, could they get migrated over to VeVe if they made a deal? Maybe. That's probably possible that there would be some verifiable way to do it. So a lot of these collectibles aren't dead, even when their entity behind them is dead. Now, some of them are. It's hard to tell which ones are which. But this is buying when it seems like the building is on fire. And so, like, when I was writing deals, some of the best deals on homes are ones that had been in a fire, even though, like, maybe the fire damage was mostly cosmetic. Maybe there's a little bit on the roof that needs to be replaced, a bunch of drywall, maybe even some lumber. But emotionally, like, nobody's going to touch that. And then you come in and you spend some money to get it remodeled and make it all pretty again, and you can capture some real value there. However, that takes foresight. So you have to know what you're doing, and you're in a space of investing. One of the problems with this space of investing is so many people are just so new to investing. So they don't know what they're doing. And what do people do when they're new to investing? Gold and silver. Oh my gosh, they've tripled. let's go buy gold and silver because that feels safe. What they don't do when they're new is they don't go, oh, crypto, this token OMI is 99% discount from its highs. And VeVe, the company behind it, is like continues to make incoming revenues. And gosh, they keep making these deals and they seem to have an audience that is keeping them afloat. I like buying cheap, so I'm going to buy a lot of their tokens. And a lot of people miss that when they're new to investing. And that's okay. Like when you're new, just especially in investing, you'll usually get wrecked at first. Why? Because you're new. You don't know what the hell you're doing. In most investing space, it's about a 5% success ratio. Particularly, that's what it is in crypto, that 5% of people in the space make outsized gains. Okay. Well, when you're new, you don't know how that 5% of things do. And you're likely going to follow your emotions and do what the 95% of people that don't do well do. We specifically set up the show and I set up my channel to teach people to think like what the 5% do, because it doesn't come naturally. Almost nobody does it naturally right. And that's why I teach people how to think that way and teach them what the 5% do. And my mentor was good enough that he taught me in real estate investing. Even though like I bought him lunch once in a while, I didn't directly have to pay him anything. I just absorbed his time as much as I could get because I did have this thesis. If I can just learn to think like really successful investors do and just copy how they think about things and the actions that they do, it seemed like that would go well for me. And it does. It is the actions that your emotions tell you to take, though, are very different from what smart actions are.
Agreed. You have Gary Vaynerchuk going in, and they, on the 24th, he lists all the NFT projects that he wants to win. Pudgy Penguins, Good Vibes, Azuki, Bored Apes, Doodles, Quirkies, World of Women, Regenerates, Chimpers, Moonbirds, Unofficial, MFers, Meebits, Cool Cats, and he will work very, 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 very hard for VeeFriends to win. A lot of people were really upset at the lack of mention of VeVe here, and I think part of the reason why he didn't mention them is the fact that he doesn't have to hope or want them to, like, they've already won. every one of these other, with the exception of Pudgy Penguins and VeeFriends, well, Bored Apes as well, but the exception of those, like all the other ones, I've heard of these guys. They might have a community. Like, I don't know how many of them are generating a lot of revenue or any at all. Like, I know Pudgy Penguins, they're not generating anything from secondary sales from OpenSea. It might behoove them to go on the collect chain so they can start generating some of those revenues. I mean, they make revenues in other ways, but to not get anything on a secondary market, that is rough. Like, there's so much money being thrown around and they're not getting any of it. I think at this point, you don't have to hope or want VeVe to win. They're the biggest one out there. They have the best IP. They've already won. Do you think that's me just with some copium there? Do you think that's me just like wishing that were the case, or do you concur with my statement?
Well, it doesn't matter to me if Gary V gets VeVe or not. Like, he has talked about it. For some reason, there's some kind of animus. Maybe he's mad that he didn't create it, so that he goes for like other things, and he goes for other things that are most close to what he did with VeeFriends. Like, I had a call with a major paper. I don't remember, the New York Times or whatever. And they were writing an article on VeeFriends. And I was like, and what do you think of Gary V? And he's this innovator. I was like, he is, he really is innovative. But I have to say about the VeeFriends, like, they look like Joe Biden's son, Hunter, drew them. And she's like, oh, we don't need to get political. And I was like, no, like, I'm saying that is like an observation of fact, all this money that Hunter Biden's making from his things. And the VeeFriends, they look similar. Like, they almost could have been drawn for the same thing. Now, because of his name, Gary V, they're doing well, but the artwork is quite terrible. Like, have they done well anyway? Yeah, his timing on it was really good, and his name is really big, but the artwork sucks. And she didn't end up including anything I said in the article, which was funny to me. It's like, yeah, they look like Hunter Biden drew them. Not far off from that. Like, is the artwork good? No. Like, Was his timing good on it with his name? Yes. Will they be worth something in the future? Possibly. Do I care whether he recognizes VeVe's success or not? No. There seems to be some weird animus between him and VeVe. He has like made sure to exclude them almost all the time and pretend he doesn't know who they are, even though I know he knows who they are. So that's on him, whatever the deal is. Maybe he's just mad he didn't create this, because it's brilliant what they've done. And they had a massive success in 2021. And just like the rest of the market, they pulled back tremendously in the price. I see low prices as a good thing. Some people disagree.
Yeah.
I like prices because I think like an investor.
Have you read any of the VeFriends comic or like watched part of the show?
No, I ordered some of the things where you got the physical thing. I don't remember how much I had to pay. You had to buy so many of his books.
Okay.
And I got the mail thing and the books. I didn't end up reading it. Well, I might have read like the first little bit. It was good. Like, he is a great marketer. He really is.
The what I saw, it was of the show, it's a kid show. The comic is pretty much the same thing, and kid shows can be good. Avatar: The Last Airbender is like one of the best animated shows that Nickelodeon's ever put on. They put on a lot of really good stuff. Disney, they were more like for kids. The one show that I thought was probably the best of the 2010s was Gravity Falls. They did an amazing job with that. But it seems that Gary Vee is really geared towards like kids, like 7 and under. And which is fine. They can get nostalgic about that, but he's really taking the long play here. I think it might behoove him to work on an audience maybe that's like kids of all ages. Again, Avatar is really good. Gravity Falls is really good. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those shows. For Avatar, 10 out of 10 would recommend. That's amazing. But yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk stuff is pretty kid-like. His comics have been selling for like the one of 555 been selling for insane amounts on eBay. Jason Payne, this is Top Chrome VeFriends Hobby Box, $460. Damn. Yeah, Rand, if you still got some of that stuff, you might have something in your extra money over there.
If I still have what?
Apparently the Top Chrome's VeFriends Hobby Box is going for $460 on eBay. So that's one of the things that you got.
Yeah, I do have one of those unopened, right? So, but I'm not going to sell it in this market when things are terrible, right? Because if it's $460 now, then what's it going to be worth in the future?
That's a good point.
I'll show people what we're talking about. This is what they look like. So that one they're asking 504. That's 497. I think this is series 2. That's what this is saying. I think what I have is the original one. So they're asking 615 for this. But this is what it is. There's some other things that came up. I don't know what these are. VeFriends manga series and Topps Chrome VeFriends. These aren't the ones I have. The one I have looks like this. It's this green box. It's somewhat translucent. You can see inside. And it's got some packs. So probably the packs look like that, but I definitely didn't open them.
Yeah.
So that's a pack, one of the packs. And they're asking $40 for it. So that's what we're talking about.
So what do you think about the shutdown? How long do you think it'll last? What'll be the outcome?
I don't know. But the shutdown odds went way up on Polymarket, which I love Polymarket because that gives me an indication what is likely to happen, as said by people putting their own money on the line, which is somewhat more accurate than CNN saying experts say this is going to happen. It's like, which experts? You never cite who they are. You just call them experts, and your experts, why are they wrong 95% of the time? Get new experts. And it's like, oh, well, because you have a political opinion. You want us to buy into whatever your political opinion is. Polymarket is actually like the real deal because people have to put their own money on the line. So I haven't seen where people are trying to skew it in order to skew poll data by putting tons of money on the line that they know they're going to lose just to try to skew public opinions. So it's like the best polling data out there of what people really think is going to happen.
Agreed. All right. We I'm not gonna lie, my back is hard. Do we have a little bit more you want to go over, or we talked to you off camera a bit. I don't know what else you had going.
460 dropped because it was $700 before. But imagine what this is going to go to in a bull market, because these things aren't dead. And Gary Vee is a big enough name. The reason I bought it was just to hold on to it till when the bull market went crazy again. So it's like the price now is irrelevant. Why would I sell it now? I want to sell it when the market goes crazy. And when will that be? Well, August, because that's when I called it. Otherwise, you know, I might die if it's wrong. So
yeah.
Kyle with his questions, he always has these very deep questions, like gun to your head. What month would the altcoin season happen? It's like, I don't know. Like, I wish there was a magic crystal ball. Like, somehow people think for you to be able to talk in this space, and sometimes it feels like the pressure is there, that for you to talk in this space, you have to be right 100% of the time, which isn't happening. And it's like, there's no 100%. You're just playing odds. And even if you're playing odds where 90% chance you're going to be right, well, you're still going to be wrong on that sometimes. And so picking exact dates, you're almost, even picking months, you're almost guaranteed to be wrong, because we don't know when that's going to happen. But I buy in a way where it doesn't matter if it happens in March, it doesn't matter if it happens in August. And you know what? Heaven forbid, maybe it doesn't happen until next January. Will it probably happen sooner than January? I would think so. I think gold going crazy, silver going crazy, stock market going crazy. At some point, some of that momentum really rolls into crypto.
I think so too. Abe before was saying, can we shout out Manu and team? Absolutely, we can. We love him. He's such a cool dude. Manu
is one of the smartest, coolest people I've met in crypto. My only problem with him is he is so hard to reach these days. I ping him about something really important and cannot get a hold of the guy. But Paul tells me, like, that's just, man, he's like, Manu is so busy, like he doesn't even have time to sleep as he's lining up all these things. And that's a good problem. I have lots and lots of money invested in the token. So I want Manu to be out there, like, working crazy hard. And that's good. Like, what I like about DEVVE is they do have amazing things going on. They are very revenue positive. So, like, I'm excited for that. And even though the price is so dirt cheap, it's like, well, I don't see why that business isn't going to make me some really good money.
Hell yeah.
So, oh yeah. Just want to get there. And Gary's a great guy in person. I have not met him in person, but he seems cool. So it sounds like you have some actual experience with him. I'm sure he would collab with VeVe if asked.
Yeah, I talked to him twice. I got kind of lucky with it. One was at VCon. The other was when he was in Ohio for something last year. And I got to talk to him just for, I think, like 2 minutes. I have it like on like a random video or a random live that I showed. And I asked about VeVe, and I forget what I even asked him, but he said that, listen, what we all have to do on our NFT projects is we have 40 to 80 years of content to catch up with from Spider-Man and Batman and all the stuff that's on VeVe. So I think that's why he's just focusing on his stuff, because he's got to, in his mind, he's got to play catch up, which is fine. I get that.
DEVVE down, it's a blessing. Well, for those of you that really understand buying low is better than buying high, and you like the fundamentals behind DEVVE. Now, I own a ton of DEVVE. I'm very biased towards DEVVE myself. I do like the fundamentals behind DEVVE. It is a blessing.
Yeah, you had Believes Crypto the other day actually say, like, DEVVE just did what? They had an ecosystem update. They were able to show contingent transaction sets. They were able to show part of their new website that's from DEVVE. Like, everything looks really good. It looks really clean, and it's like, geez. I mean, as people start to figure out, you know, the T+0 settlement time, what they are, just the speculation on who their partner or partners are. We need a light to get shown on it, but once capital starts coming into crypto, that's one of the places I think it goes, just because of what they can do. Product up loss protection. Yeah, Gary did a show with my friend Dan Schaubel. It's like a few years ago, but yeah, he does stuff with people outside of crypto as well. He's been on Joe Rogan and all that jazz.
It's a $50 DEVVE possible by end of year. It's very possible. Is certain things in the past got traction, like Ave went like 1,000x in a number of months. Like will DEVVE, that's my hope. That's why I own so much of it, is that my hope is it goes to you know, a $30, a $50, maybe even a 300, or like far upside might be $700, but everything would have to happen right for it to go up that high. Could it happen? It's possible. Probable, I don't know what the probabilities are for that high of a DEVVE, but 50 is solidly in the range of achievable. Let's go OMI. I agree. OMI, the reason we even created OMI is my homie. There was a lot of FUD back when we created this, and so many people were jumping on the bandwagon of Chuck to a buck and just other things, and like, oh, OMI's terrible, it's not going to go anywhere. And it's like, look, OMI's one of my favorite bets in the crypto space. So let's dedicate time to just talk about, like, primarily OMI. We cover some other things that are on mine too, but primarily the show is about OMI and VeVe, because we love the leadership behind it. We love that they have capital coming in, unlike most crypto projects. And most of these ones that are failing, they just don't have any kind of incoming revenues coming in to balance out the outflows that they're having. And so they have to lay off their teams and close their doors. And so that's why OMI is one of my favorite bets for this. The bear market won't last for forever. Momentum will shift and money will shift back into crypto and into altcoins.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that.
People tend to forget that, like, I came into crypto from stocks and from Pokemon cards. And if VeVe was a stock that I found in 2021, I would have bought it, but it's not a publicly traded company. You can't buy shares unless someone's willing to do an OTC deal with you, which is like impossible. So what's the next best thing? To buy the token. Like, if you can't be part of the company, buy the token, because that's what anybody can do, unless you're worth like $8 billion and you could buy part of the company. But what are people going to do? Like, if it's has anything to do with, I don't know, think of like Tesla. You could buy part of the company, you buy the stock, but but with VeVe you can't do that. You have to either buy the collectibles, cool, buy that, or buy the token. And for me, I have both. But yeah, if there was a way I could buy VeVe stock, and I'm sure David's been approached for that before, to take the company public. I don't know if he'd really want to do that, but that would be bananas.
Public companies don't usually run as well as privately owned companies with good leadership. So I'm glad it's in private hands. I hope it stays away for a long time.
Yeah, David's got I mean, he's a majority shareholder anyway, so it's like when you are that and you are the board, you can make decisions. Like, if you know that something's a good idea, if you have a publicly traded company, people can like kind of talk you out of it. The board can vote against you, but if you're a privately owned company and you are the board, then there's nobody that's going to talk you out of a good idea, because that's what you have. It's like, if David were to listen to everybody in 2022, or 2023, they would have spent all their money on marketing. They would have maybe had to borrow in order to just do more marketing 2024. And they'd be like the rest of these companies, but they were very frugal, and they were the capital allocation from David and Dan is the best I think I've seen, outside of maybe like Tesla. Like they knew when to spend and when not to spend. And that's, God, I want to give them more money. I want to buy more OMI. You're making me bullish here, Rain.
Well, what's funny is capitulation feels like this. Like, we've seen people capitulating over the last 3 years, and it's been a stream, but at the bottom, it feels very depressing, especially as you watch gold go crazy, silver go crazy. And it's like, and you feel this pressure to like give up and to go into those other things, because it is depressing. And that's why so many people never make the big gains, because they do capitulate at the bottom and they roll into something where the action is. Because as human beings, we like to be part of a team where it feels like where the action is. And so that's why so many people do it wrong, because if you're jumping into where the action is without having pre-positioned yourself there, you're coming late to the party, and you're going to be there when the party shuts down and like things go bad for you and take this big ride down. And then they think, oh, well, investing is just bad. And it's like, no, you're just still doing it wrong. Showing up early to the party and being there before the momentum hits is where all the gains are made. And so, yeah, you're early to the party. Nobody's here right now. That's the time to be here, because by the time everyone's here, you've already got all your things lined up and you get the major gains. Then you're able to exit as everyone's coming in. And that's how you make money in investing, not just in crypto, in every single market. That's how you do it. All right.
Who do you think made more money in Sandbox? Is it the people that bought land before Snoop Dogg, or the people that bought land after he announced? And is Snoop Dogg even in Sandbox anymore? I don't think so. I feel like any of the, so.
Yeah, I was buying it when it was launching in the early rounds, and like my pieces went to $13,000 a piece, right? So it's like, I know. All right, guys. Great to see you all. OMI is still our homie. We love VeVe. We love David Yu. We love Dan. We love the team. Really pleased with what they're doing. I can't say I didn't lose trust in 3 years ago when they were behind on everything they were promising and weren't giving us updates. But since then, they've rebuilt my trust, and I'm very pleased with where they're at, and I'm excited for the future of VeVe. We'll see you all.
Say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. We love you.